should be the main event, and we saved it for last, and that is Sting's last matchup in the tag team. He'll defend the tag team titles, him and Darby Allin, against Matthew. And I better say this right, or else we might get fined. The AEW EVPs, Matthew and Nicholas Jackson, in a tornado tag team match for the AEW World Tag Team Championship. We talked about this before. This is why everyone's going to be in Greensboro, flocking to see Sting in his final matchup. So growing up, I've always been a WWE guy. So we've always had that little attachment to the Hogans, the Warriors, and we learned about guys like Ric Flair, guys like Sting. I was always the kid that wanted Sting to come to WWE, but he was loyal. He was a good soldier with WCW, stuck in there. And then when he could have gone after that, he went to TNA. And then after TNA, then I guess the logical sense was Sting go to WWE. But when he went there, I would say, man, it was leaning towards A from his debut at the Survivor Series. And then it went down to maybe a C at the end of it. And then part of it also, too, was the Seth Rollins, causing him that injury, that neck injury where he thought he wouldn't be able to go. And maybe that was the reason why we never got Sting and Undertaker. I think we were robbed as fans. Thank you, Vince, on your way out. That's probably listen, he's done horrible stuff. But as far as the wrestling aspect, that's probably one of his biggest crimes in not giving us Undertaker and Sting. So at the end of the day, yes, I congratulate the man, Steve Borden, on his tremendous and longevity. That should be admired, right? But I just was not a Sting guy, and that was not because I'm not a fan of him, just because I was a WWE guy. But give him his props, give him his flowers. The man was able to come back from that neck injury and continue to wrestle and just defy the age, the limits of age, because the stuff that he was doing, no man in his 60s, not to mention his 50s or 40s, should be doing. And it all culminate this Sunday at Revolution. Give your props to Sting. And the question is, Trendsetter, for your last match, do you walk out with the victory, or do you do that? Because we're old school guys. Do you do the honors and pay it forward to the Young Bucks? That's the main question.
All right. So before I answer that question real quick, and we'll go on a long tangent here, I promise, that when I remember first seeing Sting, I was in awe. Surfer Sting was, to me, wow, one of the best versions. And at the transition, and I'm sure a lot of people will look at who don't know who I mean when I mean Surfer Sting, the Crow character became iconic. But that's what made him an icon, I feel, the Crow character. When he left the WCW and kind of ventured on his own and was going to go after the NWO himself and became the Crow character from the movie, which did an amazing job. And that surpassed anything he's done. But I'll always remember Surfer Sting and looking at this guy, larger than life, this huge comic book character. And yes, as a WWE fan, you had the Ultimate Warrior. But the problem between Ultimate Warrior and Sting was that if you had Sting in WWE, the one thing you would have is, well, two things, right? You would have great quality matches. Warrior wasn't known for that, and it's no big secret, right, that I'm saying that. He was known for just doing what he did in the ring and then walking out and leaving. That was his shtick. And you would have longevity. Sting would have been there. There would have been this issue with what happened with Warrior. And my God, imagine the matches that Sting could have had in WWE against guys like Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels, Randy Savage. I know we saw some of those in WCW, but again, the list goes on and on in terms of longevity of his career to where he is now. I don't necessarily agree in terms of his career in WWE. I think it happened 10 years too late. So I agree that, it should have happened originally. But again, Steve's own insecurities prevented that from happening because he didn't want to have the name he had built up be tarnished, because at that time they were just destroying all WCW guys. And, the comment that The Rock made one time to Booker T really affected Steve or Sting to want to come to the WWE. I can understand that. But then after that was over, he still had an opportunity. So I wouldn't call necessarily his run to be a failure. It was more of an incomplete. And the reason why I mean by that is that I have a strong belief. It's never been confirmed by anybody, but some people have talked about it. I think his match with Seth Rollins, it was pitted that Seth was going to lose to Sting, and we're going to see Sting for the first time ever win the WWE Championship. I think it was pitted for that story, but then the injury caused them to kind of change it on the fly, and then had Seth retain the title. And And then that was it. The WWE was not going to take any more risk on Sting getting back into the ring, although he could theoretically still go. They didn't want to do the issue to have the run the issue of having to deal with him health related injury in the ring for them. Similar to what happened to Bryan, Edge. They didn't want to deal with that. They didn't want to put that on their plate. Understandably so. So I look at it as an incomplete. Had he won the WWE Championship, oh my God, every single person would have been like, "That's it. You've won every single title in every company you've been in." Besides, obviously now AEW and being the world champion, but my God, what a great moment that would have been. So I give it. I don't give it a C. I don't give it an A. I give it an I for an incomplete. As for this match right now, I'm very old school, and I think Sting is the same way as too. His way to pay respect to the business would be, listen, I'm going to go out on my shield. I think he's going to take the pin and he's going to lose and the titles will go to the Young Bucks. Now, when you look at it too, like the EVPs have done so much that a title for them or them winning the championship doesn't really mean anything to me. It's more of just Sting doing the honors, right? But if you're Tony Khan, Jeff, and I asked you this question before, do you have nostalgia in you where you're like, although a guy like Sting or you and I say, you need to lose in your final match, that's the way it always goes, or if you're leaving the company going somewhere else, you lose your final match with the company. Does he go and like, you know what? We're gonna do a different route. We're gonna have you leave as the champion, and then we're gonna vacate the titles, or Darby Allin gets a new partner. I
Yes.
think Tony Khan will lean in that direction.
So I think here, I'm glad you threw me this one because I can probably most answer it 99.99% of what's going to happen or what this is going to do. I think Tony Khan has tremendous respect for Sting. Obviously, you can tell. And listen, Tony Khan, the way he treats his wrestlers, treats the all timers is amazing. Never doubt the way Tony Khan treats guys, especially guys like Sting, right? Guys he admires, right? This Tony Khan left it to Sting to decide who he wanted to face for his final matchup. He could have picked anyone, as long as, of course, not WWE, right? But he would have tried to, and anyone from TNA, anyone from New Japan, or anybody who's a free agent. It was Sting's decision. The way everything has gone, I think everything has left it up to Sting, and I think that this is the same thing. I think while Tony Khan would love to pay homage to Sting and have him walk away as a tag team champion, I think that he's going to leave it to Sting to make the final call. And what Sting? Sting is not a selfish guy. Have you seen all the love that he's gotten this? I mean, go back to the Players Tribune. A guy like Darby Allin, like pouring his heart out into that tribute to Sting. All the voices that we just heard on the phone call where they were thanking Sting. This guy is a guy that pays it forward. And at the end of the day, he's going to leave it to Sting. And what's Sting's decision? It's no brainer. He's going to, and I know it sucks for Darby Allin, but I think Darby Allin is on board because there's going to be Darby Allin's career is just hitting, right? It's there. There's many more years for Darby Allin, but they're going to leave it up to Sting. And I think that Sting is going to make that old school decision and he's going to pay it forward. And I think he's going to get the round of applause towards the end. They're going to cheer. There's going to be tears. There's going to be wrestlers coming out, hugging him and everything like that to say his final goodbyes. But in the time-honored tradition, Sting is going to obviously pay it forward and, of course, give it the win to the Young Bucks. And yes, while the Young Bucks have nothing to prove, they're in this heel phase of their run. So what would be ultimate heelish is to drive out Sting. I think it works for them because who's going to be there tomorrow? The Bucks. And I think that that's what's going to happen. I think that it can leave it up to Sting, and Sting's going to make the final call, and you get the Bucks the new tag team champions.
Yeah, no, like I said, all this stuff, like you said, where he's going to leave it to Sting, it's going to happen. And for the Young Bucks, they're going to be there tomorrow, like you said. Not Sting. He's not going to be there tomorrow. This is it for him. And it's bittersweet too, because we thought when we saw him at the Hall of Fame, and I don't know how many years ago that was. It was the final time we'd ever see him. Not ever, but you and I had said to ourselves, hey, Jeff, I think you and I have seen Sting at a WrestleMania. How surreal was that? We actually saw Sting at a WrestleMania. And to see it, the luck we've had to see it, and to see his career and where it's gone, and the place he's in his life too. It's bittersweet because with guys like, and I know the same thing will happen to me when Chris Jericho decides to retire too, though he won't retire the traditional way. He'll just stop. That's Chris Jericho's personality. You hate to see them go, but at the same time, I think it's also time as well, because as much as he's defied the laws of physics and aging, and we thought Ric Flair was the only person that found the fountain of youth, and Sting as well. I guess he shared it with Sting in terms of what he's been able to do at this stage in his career and life. You just want to see him go off in the sunset. As bittersweet as it is, I'll always look at Sting and be like, man, just that one more run or what could have been in WWE, but he was able to have peace with it in AEW, and AEW, obviously, Tony Khan loves him, are able to give him that. Congratulations to him. Wish him nothing but the best. What an amazing, amazing career that will never be forgotten. I know he's a Hall of Famer, but he's somebody whose legacy and will, it's always defined by the people you work with and defined by the people that carry it. But I think his legacy will never be forgotten. Sting is one of the amazing talents in this industry that I've had the privilege of watching in the late stages of his career, but always been amazed with what he's done.
Yeah, I think you were talking about Silver Sting before. I think that's my favorite Sting too.
Yeah.
I just love.
I remember too, like he would face Big Van Vader, God rest his soul, and
that's how I became.
Those matches were scary to me. I was scared in those matches.
The way they portrayed Van Vader, probably the scariest thing besides the Undertaker at that time, right? Who just starting to emerge as this this crazy larger than life figure, and you see Vader on the other side with that mask and that headpiece that would come into the ring, freaking scary. And I'm like, yo, this dude is really gonna take on this guy, right? So that's when I was thinking, like, she's so brave, he's so, and and just to think that where we are at in our age, and think that still is still going, and he's gonna culminate, makes us feel old, right? Makes us feel like, oh man. So if anything, man, I just hope he gets through it amazing, and I just think that well deserved.
There's nothing to hold back now. It's his final match, so if he's gonna go all out, he better do it.
End it on his way. I think when you don't end it your way, you kind of feel like, no, I have to end it my way. And WWE didn't give him that option. They kind of were like, listen, take the Hall of Fame, have your moment in the sun there in Texas, get your flowers there. But part of Sting was like, no, I can still do this, man. I can, once I'm medically cleared, and they gave me the okay. Obviously, he was gonna end it on his terms, and what a run! I think that you could say. I think the one word you can mention here in this run with AEW out of anything was fun, because he gave a lot of fun moments.
Had a lot of fun, definitely.
AEW, so definitely Stinger. On behalf of the HSP podcast, we want to wish you nothing but the best in retirement. Hopefully you still stick around, man. Hopefully we still see you. But in whatever you do in the future, man, much respect here from HSP and everyone here on the Give Shot Network.